Okay, these are examples 8, check understanding 8A and 8B from page 259. And this is our last method for factoring quadratics, and it is called difference of squares. Right? Literally, the subtraction of two terms that could be written as squares. Right? Now, one thing you're going to have to remember when you do any of this is you got to remember what are the perfect squares. And we know that 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, and 10 squared is 100. If you don't have that memorized, then you should probably start by just using your calculator and making this list just like I did right here, so that you have these numbers to look at. Because we need to recognize when we look at numbers like 64 and 4 and 49 that they are perfect squares. In this case, the first term is already being written as a square, right? X squared. The second term is not. I don't see this as a number squared. But looking at my list, in fact, 64 equals 8 squared. So let me replace the 64 with 8 squared. So now this is literally the difference, the subtraction of two things that are being squared. All right? And the pattern here to factor this is x plus 8 times x minus 8. Okay? It starts with x, because x times x is x squared. And, you know, you just take whatever this is, it's a plus that, and it's a minus that. I mean, if you wanted, you could think of it like this. Think of it like this is a simple quadratic factoring. This is like x squared plus 0x minus 64. And then you could use the thinking that we used then. What are the factors of negative 64 that add up to 0? Okay, well, if they add up to 0, they must be opposites of each other, right? So what two numbers would you multiply to get a negative 64 and add to get 0? You would get 8 and negative 8. So either you remember the pattern, right? X squared minus 8 squared is x plus 8 times x minus 8, or you factor it like it's a simple quadratic. But in either case, this is the answer. Okay. Now, the check understanding 8B is a little bit different. Okay. Now we're looking at the 4, we look at the 49, and we may recognize that 4 is 2 squared and 49 is 7 squared. But we still need to write this like it is one whole quantity being squared, and it's not at this point. All right. I can change that by writing this like 2a in parentheses squared, and write this as 7 squared. Okay. Now, this is the difference of two things that are being squared. Okay, how does it factor? 2a plus 7, 2a minus 7.